Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, the Energy Subcommittee begins its work for this Congress, renewing our efforts to chart a path to a clean energy future. Last Congress was particularly productive for the subcommittee, culminating in enactment of the Energy Act of 2020, and I commend Chairman Rush, along with many others from both sides of the aisle, for the work on this new law that was included in the omnibus. Last year, Chairman Rush, Tonko, and I released a draft of the Clean Future Act, comprehensive climate legislation to get us to 100% clean economy by 2050. In the coming weeks, we plan to introduce an updated version of the Clean Future Act that will serve as the basis for comprehensive climate action this year. The Clean Future Act touches on the whole energy economy, from the power sector to buildings to transportation, all aspects we will explore at today's hearing. The bill includes a federal clean electricity standard, or CES, a policy that has long existed in many states. A national CES can play a key role in building a clean power sector, which is critical to reducing carbon emissions in other economic sectors. And the Clean Future Act also sets forth policies to drastically reduce energy consumption in the building, transportation, and industrial sectors, among others. Now, President Biden has made the climate crisis the centerpiece of his administration and has already taken bold actions to address climate change. I stand ready to work with him to enact comprehensive climate legislation, and I hope my Republican colleagues will join us in that effort. Now, as we discuss the climate crisis, it's important to also recognize the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Last Congress, the subcommittee held a hearing on the impacts of the pandemic on the energy sector, including job loss, delayed projects, and the effect of pandemic restrictions on energy demand. Pandemic-related job losses have also resulted in millions of households being unable to pay their utility bills. And that's why the reconciliation instructions our committee marked up last week included additional funding for the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP. And LIHEAP helps the growing number of qualifying families pay their utility bills and is especially crucial during a pandemic. And last, it's critical that we discuss the devastating toll this week's severe winter weather is taking on our nation. Millions are facing power outages in dangerously cold conditions, and these outages are further exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, earlier this week, the energy market in Texas, known as ERCOT, was forced to take 34,000 megawatts of electricity generation off its system. And since Sunday evening, over 25,000 megawatts of mostly fossil-fueled energy were offline. Of this number, most of those outages are at gas-fired power plants. Those are the facts as stated by Texas's own grid regulator, yet some Republicans and media outlets are suggesting alternative realities. They're turning a crisis into an anti-renewables campaign, and they are conveniently leaving out the fact that the majority of the failures have come from fossil fuel. So we can't allow the Texas crisis to be used as an excuse to discourage movement towards renewables. That will not help Texas or the United States. What failed here was an energy sector that didn't consider fully our changing climate and the extreme weather that comes with it. It was a failure to fully recognize that the 100-year-old storm of yesterday may now be the 10-year storm of today. As both the Department of Energy and fossil generation companies reported yesterday, gas pipelines, wells, and plants all froze because they weren't equipped to handle the cold weather. And I agree, I heard what Dr. Burgess said, and I agree that we need to do more in terms of resiliency. And certainly the bill that we're hoping, an infrastructure bill that we're hoping we'll be doing similar or maybe even more expansive than the Moving Forward Act that we passed last year in the Congress and through this committee, will be an opportunity for us to address some of these resiliency issues as well. And those things are also included in our Clean Future Act. But I do think that the severely limited interconnection between ERCOT and the rest of the country probably didn't help matters either. I think it's sad that we saw these problems arise 10 years ago with another major storm that hit Texas and the Southwest, and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission at the time issued a report, but nothing really changed. The fact that Texas is almost like an island separated from the rest of the nation's energy grids, I don't think helps, because it's more difficult for us to get power to them in the time of crisis. So hopefully we won't ignore this last FERC report, and we'll follow up on it. And I also want to stress that this committee will investigate the Texas crisis further, and we'll see what other actions we have to take based on that old report, as well as what we find out now. So ultimately, This episode underscores the importance of prioritizing clean and resilient energy infrastructure, which is exactly what we aim to do with this committee. So thank you again. I yield back.